It's a time of faith and reminded us of Lalibela, a monument to rare devotion. 800 years ago, an Ethiopian king ordered a new capital for Christians. On the central plateau of Ethiopia stand 11 churches, each carved from a single gigantic block of stone.
Hidden in the highlands of Ethiopia lies a mystery, so vast you could stand on it and never know it was there. A city carved down into volcanic rock, not built up from stone. 11 monolithic churches were sculpted from a single plateau, completed in just 23 years, with no trace of the millions of tons of stone removed. Historians still argue, were these masterpieces the work of human hands or something else entirely? The truth challenges everything we think we know about ancient civilizations. So, how did they really do it? At over 2,600 meters above sea level, the Ethiopian highlands stretch out in every direction. Rolling fields, scattered farms, and the silent mass of Mount Abuna Yosef looming in the haze. The land here is an ancient volcanic plateau, a crust of hardened tuff and scoriaceous basalt layered by eruptions millions of years ago. From a distance, it looks like any other rugged outcrop, but a few steps closer, the ground drops away. Sheer trench walls plunge 10 meters, even 15 meters down, slicing the earth into corridors and sunken courtyards. There are no gates, no towers, no city walls to announce what lies beneath. The plateau itself is the disguise. The first impression is disorientation. Unlike the pyramids of Egypt or the cathedrals of Europe, Lalibela's marvels do not rise toward the sky. They vanish into the ground. 11 churches, some freestanding, some clinging to the rock, others half swallowed by the earth, have been carved directly into the living stone. Each is a single unbroken mass, its walls, columns, and windows revealed only by the removal of everything around them. The city's invisibility is not an accident. From above, the outlines of courtyards and cross-shaped roofs blend into the plateau, hidden until you stand at the very edge. It is only then that the scale becomes clear, a network of trenches, tunnels, and sunken plazas, all connected below the surface. The largest, Bete Giorgis, stretches 34 meters long and is surrounded by a moat-like pit. The most iconic, Bete Georgis, forms a perfect cross 40 feet deep, its roof flush with the ground, invisible to anyone but the birds or perhaps the divine. This landscape demanded more than vision. It required a kind of negative imagination, the ability to see a cathedral inside a mountain, to carve away everything that was not sacred space. The plateau became both canvas and fortress, sheltering the city from invaders and from time itself. Here, the land is not just the setting, but the protagonist, a silent witness to centuries of faith and ambition, holding its secret city beneath the grass and stone. Carving a city downward is a feat that demands a different kind of genius, one that works by subtraction, not by addition. Here, every mistake is permanent. In Lalibela, the process began at the surface. Craftsmen traced the outline of a church on the bare plateau, then cut trenches straight down, isolating a massive block of stone. This was their canvas. From there, they worked their way into the earth, level by level, hollowing out chambers, aisles, and domes. All of this had to be imagined in 3 dimensions before the first blow of the chisel. There was no margin for error. If a column was carved too thin or a window punched in the wrong place, the entire structure could be compromised. Unlike a masonry cathedral, there was no way to replace a broken block. The rock itself dictated the rules. One slip and years of labor could be lost. Evidence of this high-stakes planning still exists. Some walls bear the scars of abandoned cuts, where the stone proved too brittle or the design shifted midstream. These are silent witnesses to the trial and error hidden beneath the surface. The interiors reveal a precision that defies the tools of the time. Columns aligned perfectly with roofs, arches springing seamlessly from solid stone, and corridors that meet in darkness with uncanny accuracy. Each church is a single unbroken mass, its features revealed only by removing what did not belong. The scale of removal is almost unimaginable. To create a freestanding church like Bete Giorgis, workers had to clear not just the interior, but a vast moat-like courtyard around it. Multiply that by 11, and the volume of stone extracted runs into the millions of tons. Yet, there are no written records of the planning or the workforce. The only clues are the chisel marks, the unfinished passages, and the sheer ambition of the design. Some scholars point to phased work, evidence that teams adapted as they went, learning from each success and setback. Whether the entire complex was completed in the legendary 23 years or over generations, one truth remains. This was a gamble with no second chance, played out in the heart of a mountain by anonymous hands. The mystery deepens not in the carving, but in the aftermath. Every trench, every hollowed nave, every tunnel at Lalibela meant hauling away mountains of stone. Engineers today estimate that millions of tons were extracted, an entire hillside turned inside out. Yet for all that effort, the landscape around Lalibela holds no sign of a spoil heap, no ridge of discarded rubble, no ancient quarry dump sprawling across the valley. The earth is silent, as if the rock simply vanished. Archaeologists, surveyors, and conservation teams have searched for answers. Some propose that the debris was dumped downhill, repurposed into terraces, paths, or even the foundations of the town itself. Over 8 centuries, erosion and farming may have scattered the remains, mixing them back into the soil, but no one has mapped a debris field that matches the scale of what was removed. The question lingers in every conservation report: where is the missing mountain? Modern technology offers new ways to search for clues. High-resolution LiDAR scans can reveal subtle mounds and terraces, features that might be ancient spoil heaps disguised by time and weather. Geochemical fingerprinting could match the stone in village walls and fields to the original church bedrock, tracing the journey of each fragment. So far, these methods remain proposals. No comprehensive survey has tracked the fate of Lalibela's debris beyond the sacred precinct. Inside the complex, some of the rubble is still visible. Excavations have uncovered layers of fill beneath courtyards, mixed with animal bones and pottery shards from earlier eras. These pockets of debris tell of phases of digging, reuse, and adaptation, but the bulk of the material, the true weight of Lalibela's ambition, remains unaccounted for. The absence is so complete that it has become part of the legend, fueling theories of supernatural removal or lost technologies. For now, the missing rock stands as an open invitation. It is a challenge to future investigators to map, to sample, to reconstruct the movements of stone across centuries. Lalibela's greatest secret may not be what was built, but what was taken away, and how a vanished mountain continues to haunt the story of Ethiopia's underground city. During the rainy season in the Ethiopian highlands, storms sweep across the plateau with little warning. Water pours down in sheets, threatening to fill every hollow and pit. In a city carved below the grass line, this should spell disaster. Yet the courtyards and tunnels of Lalibela stay dry, even as rivers form on the surface above. The secret lies in a system of hidden hydraulics, an engineering solution so effective that it has outlasted centuries of storms. The roofs of the monolithic churches are not flat by accident. Each one slopes gently, following the natural dip of the volcanic rock. As rain falls, the water is drawn away from delicate carvings and walls, guided by gravity alone. Channels cut into the stone catch the runoff, funneling it into trenches that circle the courtyards. Some of these trenches are wide and open, others are narrow slots, almost invisible unless you know where to look. The water does not pool, it moves, always downward, always away from the heart of the churches. Beneath the surface, a network of tunnels and conduits runs like arteries through the rock. Some passages serve as walkways for pilgrims, dark and narrow, echoing with footsteps and ancient chants. Others are designed solely for water, dropping away from the courtyards into hidden cisterns and outflow channels. In Bete Mariam, 3 rock-cut pools collect runoff, serving both as reservoirs and as baptismal fonts. The same water that threatens the walls becomes a source of spiritual renewal. The builders understood that water is both a blessing and a threat. They carved sumps and drop inlets at key points, allowing excess rain to disappear before it could undermine the stone. Where the rock naturally cracked, they widened the fissures into drains. Where the plateau sloped, they matched its angle, letting gravity do the work. Even the ritual passageways double as emergency spillways during heavy storms, their dual purpose woven into the design from the start. This system was not an afterthought. It was a blueprint, planned alongside every column and arch. The survival of Lalibela's churches owes as much to this invisible network as to any act of faith or artistic vision. Where modern conservation sometimes struggles to keep water at bay, the original design still performs, quietly channeling each storm away from the sacred heart of the city. In the late 12th century, the highlands of Ethiopia faced a spiritual crossroads. For centuries, Christian pilgrims from these mountains had journeyed to Jerusalem, tracing the footsteps of their faith. But the world beyond was changing. The Crusades had turned the Holy Land into a battlefield, and the routes once open to Ethiopian travelers were now blocked by war and shifting alliances. Into this uncertainty stepped King Lalibela, a ruler whose vision reached beyond borders and beyond his own lifetime. He imagined a solution not in conquest, but in creation. If Jerusalem could not be reached, it would be remade in Africa. The plateau at Roha, later to bear his name, became the canvas for a new sacred geography. Builders carved a stream through the center of the site and gave it a new name, Jordanos, the River Jordan. On one side of this channel rose a cluster of churches, each carved from the living rock, representing the earthly Jerusalem. On the other side, a second group mirrored the heavenly Jerusalem, a map of salvation set in stone. This was more than symbolism. The layout offered a substitute pilgrimage for those denied the journey to the original holy city. Every trench, every passage, every church was placed with intent, echoing the streets and sanctuaries of Jerusalem itself. The faithful could cross the River Jordan, descend into sacred darkness, and emerge into the light, experiencing a spiritual journey without ever leaving Ethiopian soil. King Lalibela's project was at once political, theological, and deeply personal. It asserted Ethiopia's place in the Christian world, claimed continuity with the ancient kingdom of Aksum, and offered hope to believers cut off from their holiest sites. The churches became a living map, a vision of heaven and earth carved into the heart of Africa. Cut from the living rock and standing alone at the western edge of the plateau, Bete Georgis is unlike any other church in Lalibela. Its shape is unmistakable, a perfect Greek cross, arms equal, each line crisp and unwavering, descending 12 meters into the volcanic earth. From above, the roof appears as a giant relief, a cross carved within a cross, outlined against the pale stone. For centuries, this pattern could only be seen by the rare traveler on a distant hilltop, or by the eyes of heaven itself. The church is not assembled from blocks or timbers. Every wall, column, and arch is part of a single mass freed by subtraction, not construction. The builders began at the surface, tracing the cross on bare rock, then cutting straight down to create a trench, a moat that isolates the church from the plateau. Only once the outer form was complete did they begin to hollow the interior, working by lamplight and chisel, shaping altars, windows, and galleries from within. The result is a space that feels both intimate and monumental, a sanctuary hidden in the earth yet open to the sky. Bete Georgis is dedicated to Saint George, the dragon slayer and patron of Ethiopia. Its preservation is extraordinary. The exterior still bears the marks of Aksumite tradition, blind windows, stepped frames, and decorative bands, while the roof's cross relief remains sharp after 8 centuries of rain and wind. The church stands as a silent testament to planning, skill, and faith, a structure that seems less built than revealed. In the cool shadow of its trench, the sound of chanting rises from within, echoing off stone that has not moved since the Age of Kings. Here, the achievement of Lalibela is distilled into a single impossible form, a cross in the stone, visible only to those who know where to look. Each morning, as mist lifts from the plateau, white-robed priests step from rock-cut cells and gather at the church entrances. Their first task is not prayer, but preservation. The stone they tend is scoriaceous basalt, soft when first exposed, quick to harden, yet always fragile beneath the surface. Every rain brings new risks. Water seeps into cracks, salts bloom on ancient carvings, and the slow grind of time threatens to undo centuries of devotion. The monks sweep debris from channels, patch fissures with lime, and monitor the tunnels that keep the churches dry. This work is relentless, passed down through generations, and without it, the city would crumble. In recent decades, heavy steel shelters have been raised over some of the most vulnerable roofs, meant to shield the stone from rain, but the shelters themselves are a source of worry. Their weight presses down on the brittle rock, and some clergy fear that what was built to protect may hasten collapse. The fate of Lalibela now hangs between ancient stewardship and modern intervention, as the living guardians of this underground city fight to keep its secret safe. In the cool shadows of Lalibela, the line between history and legend blurs with every chisel mark. Locals tell of a king who, after tasting poison, slipped into a vision so vivid that it remade the world. In his dream, angels guided his hand, and sentries in white wings worked through the night, carving stone twice as fast as mortal men. By sunrise, new walls stood where there had been only rock. The story lives on in whispered prayers and candlelit processions, proof for many that the impossible can be achieved when heaven takes an interest. Yet, the stone itself offers different clues. Some visitors point to crosses etched in the walls, shapes that echo the symbols of the Knights Templar, the fabled order of warrior monks from medieval Europe. Could secretive builders from distant lands have left their mark here, fleeing persecution and bringing lost knowledge with them? Scholars remain skeptical. No records, no tools, no artifacts tie the Templars to these churches. The resemblance, they say, is coincidence. Crosses are as old as Christianity itself, so the mystery grows. Angels or orders, miracle or master. The truth may be buried somewhere between faith and stone, inviting each generation to look closer and wonder what hands, seen or unseen, shaped Lalibela's underground city. While the world debates how these churches were carved, their very existence rewrites what we think we know about African history and engineering. Today, monks still chant in ge'ez, and pilgrims still walk ancient tunnels, proof that this heritage lives, not just endures. As modern preservation efforts falter, what survives here is not just stone, but a civilization's vision of the sacred. Let the mystery challenge what you accept as possible.